Thanks for coming to hear the Quord on the Street. I am your place host, Vince, and with me, I've got my nerdy host, Josh. Each week, we will be choosing one of 28 words, which were generated from the puzzle word game Quordle, and talking about whatever the hell we can based on those. Hey, Josh, what's Quordle? More importantly, what is Wordle?
Wordle is a once-a-day word game where players have 6 attempts to guess a 5-letter word. Feedback for each guess is given in the form of colored tiles to indicate if letters are in the word and if they match the correct position. Quordle's the same thing, except you're doing 4 of them at the same time. And that's where we get our 28 words from.
That's right. And today we are choosing words from April 3rd to April 9th. And you can see what those words are on our Instagram at Quord on the Street, Quord on the street. So let's go ahead and get right into the episode. This week, our episode 1, I will be starting, and the word that I'm bringing is acorn. It's kind of acorn, because what I want to talk about is actually eggcorns. Josh, do you know what eggcorns are?
I mean, I know roughly, I believe, if you're referring to the same way I'm thinking, which is like basically a different take on a word, like somebody misinterprets it and pronounces it differently, but it could kind of still have the same meaning.
Yeah, basically it's wrong, but it still kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Like eggcorn. You know, an acorn kind of looks like an egg, so that's where the term comes from.
I guess I didn't exactly. It could be an egg because they do grow like oak trees and everything from them.
Yep, and I mean, there's a ton of these things. I mean, I'm just sort of scrolling through a list right now. I think the best one, probably the most recognizable one, is duct tape. You know?
Yeah?
Duct tape is the brand because it's duct tape. But everybody just says duct tape. Even if they're saying duct tape, nobody pronounces the whole thing.
No, it's definitely... When I think about it, I think of that duck. I don't think of it spelled the way that it's actually spelled.
Yep. So, just gonna scroll through some of the ones that I think are kind of cool, and then we'll sort of transition into more question answer type thing. Chicken spots is always funny when you look at it instead of chicken pox.
Yeah, chicken spots.
Yep.
Yeah.
They are spots.
Yep.
Iced tea.
Yeah.
You know, these are just some good examples. I think the one that I always hear that I pick up on that isn't even on this list because it's just a turn of phrase now is chomping at the bit. Because that ain't what it is. It's the phrase is actually champing at the bit. Now, don't ask me what champing means, but
yeah,
it's what horses.
I'd never heard of that before. Champing at the bit.
It's what horses do to bits. They champ at them, but they're in their mouth, so they're also chomping on them, I guess. But whatever.
Huh.
But that just leads into a sort of fun discussion of language. You know, what are some words that you have that, or what are some phrases that you hear people say that just are sort of a pet peeve of yours? What bothers you that people actually say?
What are some words that bother me? Are some phrases?
Words or phrases. I mean, you know, we all have those things that when you hear someone say it, it just kind of it bothers you a little bit for no reason, no good reason.
I mean, this one's really no reason at all, but it definitely annoys me some. Is when people say they see eye to eye. It's just, I don't know. I understand what the phrase means, but there's just something about it, the way people use it, that just doesn't sit well with me.
Yeah, that's funny. Are you just imagining people just like
Yeah, I mean it's because
put?
I obviously I realize that it means people seeing stuff like through the same lens basically, but it's the way it's phrased. It's more like people staring at each other instead of looking at the same thing.
Hmm. I was wondering if you maybe were just like having the mental image of two people actually physically contacting their eyes
No, no.
together.
I mean, that's definitely what I see is like people like stare, like when you visualize that image, it really is like people staring, like, standing like eye to eye, like looking at each other's eyes, like back and forth
Just,
into a mirror, which is weird.
just, yeah,
It doesn't really fit how they're using it.
yeah. I get you. I get you. I
Another one
mean,
would
yeah.
probably be like, that's a piece of cake. Like, what is easy about a piece of cake?
Yeah, I guess cake isn't particularly easy. I mean,
No, I mean,
it's good.
I guess that's up to interpretation for people. Like, my brother hates cake. So like that phrase literally
All cake.
isn't good
He
for
just
him.
hates all cake.
Yeah, well, my mom used to make cakes all the time, so he got caked out, is what he says. So he just refuses to eat any cake ever.
Wow.
Yep, won't eat cake.
That's funny. There's not even like one cake that he's like, okay, for this I'll make an exception.
No, I will say, actually, we had a get together for my mom's birthday in March, and that was the first time I've seen him eat a piece of cake in probably 15 years. And he just had like
Oh,
a
that's
small
funny.
wedge, and it was because it was a cannoli cake that somebody that we knew made. But yeah,
Oh
other than
yeah.
that, like, never wants cake, doesn't want cupcakes. He'll have ice cream. Everyone's
I
like,
mean,
want
you
cake and
gotta.
ice cream? He just eats ice cream.
I can respect that.
Yeah. Whereas me,
Uh
I want cake.
yeah,
What are
yeah.
some phrases or stuff that get you?
I don't know. I don't know about phrases for me. I came up with this question. I don't even know if I have one. There's well, I don't know. Apparently I'm gonna talk about my wife a bunch in this particular because something that her family said when I started dating her was melds well for might as well.
Mm.
And I never really got where that came from. So I teased her about it every so often. She would say Mel's well. I'd be like, who's well? Mel Gibson's? We don't know Mel Gibson. But um she she stopped saying that on my behalf. It's really working out for us. Um and then I don't know. I just when people mispronounce things, nuclear and espresso, but I don't know. I usually let those pass too. I'm not gonna hound somebody about how they're saying something. I say mozzarella, so it's like,
Yep.
what leg do I have to stand on here?
Or marinade.
I don't say that.
I know a lot of Italian people that say that.
And then I was thinking phrases that aren't quite right, and then I thought of how people hear song lyrics because I don't know if you know how I listen to music. We've been friends for a while, so maybe like I just sort of hear syllables. So I don't really pay attention or look for the words. So I just sort of sing whatever syllables I can if I can't immediately understand the words. But some people will just have to have words to go with it. And this is where my wife comes up again. Because for years she listened to that Macy Gray song, you know, and she heard I blow bubbles when you're not here. um, Try to walk away, try to walk away and I stumble, try to lie, and it's clear I blow bubbles when you're not here. Is how she, and it's not when she says it, it's not unbelievable. She had
No,
everybody in her office believing
convinced.
that was the words.
There's definitely a lot of them like that. The first thing that came to my mind when I saw that this was what you were going to talk about was that Sean Paul
Yeah,
temperature video that was circulating on the internet for a long time with the fish hat.
fish hat.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Or I looked at a couple of them, different ones that people apparently mishear a lot, and I was really surprised because some of them are pretty funny. So apparently people think it's "Hold Me Close, Tony Danza" instead of "Tiny Dancer."
that's just a joke, isn't it? Like
I
I've
don't
heard
know.
people say that as a joke.
Yeah,
That's hilarious though. If people for real thought that's what it was.
yeah. There's definitely some crazy ones out there. I mean, people just yeah. Another, I guess this is probably a pretty good example of it is that one Missy Elliott song when she turn around, flip it, and reverse it, and that's actually that
It's
section reversed and played.
Yeah, it's actually playing it in reverse. It's yo flimmin damn diab come on.
Yeah, like that, and everybody's trying to like say that as they're singing it, and nobody can get it right except
Yeah,
apparently
yeah.
you right now.
Well, I've practiced. So it's yo flimmin damn diab come on. It's it's actually not that hard. I've heard people like say a phrase and then they have an app that'll play it back to you in reverse
Hmm.
and then just keep going back and forth until you get it right, like, and then you can actually speak in reverse.
Yeah, I know Snapchat has that.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I know nothing about Snapchat, but yeah, we'll move on to you, but I just want to leave you with my favorite egg corn that I think that I've ever heard,
Mhm.
and that is immediately pre-recording you walked into your room from being off mic and said, "We're gonna party like it's 1995." That was mwah, chef's kiss because it's exactly what I was gonna about to talk about.
Yeah, I guess that
And
does it perfectly.
yeah, it sure does. And with that, we'll go ahead and transition over to you.
Yeah, so this week my word is going to be brush. I know you guys are probably thinking, brush, what are you going to talk about? Your beard or well, actually you don't know I have a beard, but no, I saw brush and my mind immediately went to art, like a paintbrush. I've kind of been really intrigued by art my whole life. Started at a pretty young age. And I guess I've always kind of had a little bit of jealousy for people that could paint and draw. I'm not really that type of artist. I mean, I can sketch something, but it's not going to be great. And if I look at something, like I can draw based on visually seeing it, but for me to like come up with something, that's not something I'm great at. Um,
Hmm.
so getting into Adobe programs in sixth grade was like huge for me. So I realized that I actually read this portion of a book that really hit home for me, and it's kind of sums up me as a designer. Um, and the book is actually called "Steal Like an Artist." So I'm much more of like a copy paste kind of person. So like I learn from everything in my environment and see different things, and it's kind of like everything I make is a big collage of like my environment and my surroundings and things that I see and how they interact with each other. And that kind of taught myself how to design and market And I think that's what made me fall in love with graphics, was being able to take that love for art, but also have some kind of uh, intellect behind it, with the marketing styles, and understanding the difference in how you lay something out, or the colors that you use, and how they can play against people and get them to feel a certain way or react and respond in a certain manner. That's always been intriguing for me.
Yeah, sure.
Do you have any artwork or anything that you can think of that's impacted you? Something that you remember that you were like, wow, like you remember it making you feel some type of way? Or
I think the things that I feel like that about are, I don't know if I've ever had like a static image
it doesn't
like
have to be. It could be video.
strike me like that. Yeah, well, I think that's where I was going with it. Just like video games, really. There's the there's the conversation about whether video games are art, and we are particularly unqualified to discuss that, I think, because there's people who are a lot smarter than me who have, had this debate. But there's just art in video games that really strikes me. Like when you see these games that have, huge set pieces, or for me, it's the smaller designed games that really strike me. Portal, just the very particular aesthetics of that game are very striking. Or The Witness, where you're on this small island, but everything is so vibrant and bright, and it really just sucks you in. I
Yeah.
think those are my touchstones with art.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely say that not only just the games themselves, but even the artwork on the outside. Like I would say that not so much now, because I'm more of a minimalist, but growing up, and especially when we worked at the video game store,
Mm-hmm.
like the cover art and the different packaging and the collector's editions and the things that they would do with that really would always speak to me and make me feel something even before I played the game.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, I get you.
so I really appreciated that. I guess another point I wanted to bring up is, so obviously we know that everybody spends big companies spend a ton of money on marketing. Do you ever notice yourself being swayed by marketing tactics, or are you aware of them being played? Do you ever realize when something is being presented to you in a certain way to try to get you to do something? Are you ever
Yeah.
consciously aware of that?
Oh yeah. I'm almost always consciously aware of it, but I'm also a sucker for it. So I realized the other day, like, just how many like podcast advertisements I've actually bought.
Yeah.
Like I have the Quip toothbrush. I have MeUndies. We order HelloFresh. It's like it's
You're part of that ecosystem.
I'm I'm part of it, but it is honestly stuff that, like, I wanted. Like,
Yep.
I think that's the thing for me is I'm aware that I'm not immune to propaganda. I'm not immune to marketing. So is the thing that I'm being made to want actually something that I should want? And I'll evaluate it through that lens before actually committing.
Well, I think most of the marketing is consumed, I would say, digitally now. So
Mm-hmm.
the algorithms are so good at deciding, what they think that you want to buy. So I mean, just you watching a podcast on YouTube and not skipping through the ad section for the Quip toothbrush or stuff, like it knows all that, and it takes that into account, and it just continues to show it to you more.
Well, I don't watch podcasts on YouTube though. I just get them, from the podcast that I listen to. These are just companies that have, done these
Had placements
new
within them.
age. Yeah, new age media marketing blasts.
Yeah. So in that case, like the reason I brought up YouTube is like they have a lot of them are baked in now, or like the,
Hmm.
instead of it being a placement like within Google, it's an actual thing that the hosts do, so that it's not your ad that people skip, but they still pay attention to all that. Like the algorithm knows, like they mark where they are at in the episode, and the algorithm still knows
Yeah, yeah.
whether or
No,
not
I
people are
get you.
watching it. I'm like, even more so working in the industry, like I find myself looking at everything, like billboards and boxes when I'm in the store, and
Yeah.
different layouts, end caps, and like how things are placed and where they're placed in the store. Like I think one
Hmm.
of one of the biggest uh things that people don't know about that gets taken advantage of is like all the small items that are available at the front of the store, like near the registers, and how that same item could be in the back of the store where it's supposed to be for more expensive. It's a different SKU. Like you could buy a 2 liter of Coke at the back of the store for 99 cents, and then a 20-ounce bottle of Coke that's in the little fridge next to the store
Uh,
or thing is $1.79.
yeah, I see what you mean.
But because
Yeah.
it's there, it's convenient, it's cold, and you can
Uh-huh.
you can feel that condensation and the refreshingness of the cold drink there. You grab it. It's the same thing at gas stations while the candy's up front. Right there. It's quick and
Yeah.
easy to access. Like those are little
Y-
things that like people don't think about, but
Yeah.
they're all preconceived ideas when people go to lay out the store of why
Now
they're there.
let me ask you this. Being in the industry, doing what you do, are you seeing ads with a more critical eye
Yes.
too? Like, ah man, they could totally, move that up or down.
Yeah,
How
I see stuff
granular.
that doesn't work all the time,
Hmm.
or I'll see things in ways that they could improve things. And I'm by no means perfect, obviously, so it's like I can't judge them, but I could definitely see how they could improve things by looking at them. Like I constantly see billboards that have like darker text on darker backgrounds, and like
Mm,
that's super hard to see. A lot of the digital
yeah.
billboards, people use like pure white backgrounds, which is also like blinding and hard to read.
Yeah, I remember when the digital billboard went up in our hometown, like people tried to get it taken down. They
Yeah.
said it was a road hazard.
Yep. I think the last topic I with brush I want to bring up would kind of be like um, color theory and color psychology. Do you know much about that, or if you have thought about it at all?
I I've heard people talk about color theory, but I feel like heard people talk about color theory in like three different ways. I have no idea what it means.
Well, color theory is going to be like kind of how somebody perceives a color. So like white to a reader normally suggests like a fresh or clean um, sense, or youth or maternity. Black is going to be like associated with power or mysteriousness, ominous, like something like that.
Hmm.
Silver is like modern, so you think like all the Apple products that come out, they're mostly
Yep,
silver.
yep.
They have that modern. Red is like bold, confident, action. Uh, you know, blue is going to be trustworthy and dependable, which is why you see most of your like financial stuff are blue or
Most of
green.
everything.
Yeah, blue
Most of
and green
everything
are going to be
seems
your
to be
two
blue.
like financial thing, and then like so that's how the customer perceives it is color theory.
Okay.
Um, whereas you're going to be looking more so into color psychology, which is going to be the feeling that they get from
Is
it.
this the sort of thing that people talk about when they say that like fast food restaurants have
Yellow and
red
because
logos because it makes you hungry?
yes.
Okay.
So it's kind of like this is going to be more so associated, I think, with the fact that over time, bigger brands have chosen these colors and they have become associated with that specific
Yeah.
medium or category of stuff. So,
It's all
food.
it's almost a self-fulfilling prophecy at this point.
Yeah. So, you got Coca-Cola red. Everyone knows that. The McDonald's red and yellow. You're going to have stuff like most banks and stuff are going to be green, blue. That's going to give you more of like the natural prospering stuff. So like financial institutions are going to be either green or most of the time like a burgundy, because burgundy gives like that sturdy, like dependable feeling.
It's funny because as you're talking about these things, like immediately company symbology is jumping to mind. Like
Right.
you talk about green and blue, it's like I have a credit union in my area that's literally like green grass, green tree, blue sky.
Yep.
Burgundy is straight, Wells Fargo.
Yep. I think one of the really good ones is like people don't realize, but the way it's tied together is like Best Buy. So it's blue for the for trustworthy, but it's yellow on the tag because yellow also symbolizes cheap.
Really?
Yeah. So that yellow tag for people is a symbol for cheap. So like they're the best buy. They're trustworthy, but they have the best prices, which we may know that's not the case some of the time, but subconsciously, that's why that's.
Well, Walmart too, huh?
Yep.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, it's crazy how that stuff all intertwines. The same thing with branding, and I guess this is where I'll end off mine right here. Is Marty Newmeyer, who's a pretty well-known graphic designer, talks about how people really misunderstand branding and they kind of intertwine branding with logos, when in fact a brand isn't anything you do. Every person has a different. Your business is a different brand with every person. So it's how you make people feel. So your brand is ever evolving and ever changing based on those people. Now you want to set a guideline to help people feel a certain way, but a brand is ever evolving, and it's determined by people, and we see that more now than ever with like streetwear companies like Supreme blowing up, and I mean even your favorite author. Like
for sure.
His brand and like the way you feel. I just in the conversation we have about his books and everything he does, like you like his work, but I can tell that you genuinely seem to like him as a person as well.
Yeah, because his brand,
the feeling that you get, his brand to you symbolizes things that you enjoy.
His brand is like, I have this deep lore and I am going to blab about it constantly and tell you nothing.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know. It's like hit me harder with it, you know?
Yep. I'm the same way, man. Like where like you love that stuff and you read all those books. Like I spend a lot of my time reading about marketing and design and color theory and different branding stuff, and like that stuff fascinates me, and like how you can change people's perceptions on things just by how you present them.
Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting, and especially, for you doing something that you love to do,
It is
you know?
definitely a plus. I have to admit that I do enjoy
Yeah.
where I'm at.
Well, that's great. So those were our words today. We'd like to hear from our audience if we have one, because this is episode 1. Don't worry about episode 0. Um, this is episode 1. So if you're listening to us for the first time, I hope you are jumping on the bandwagon pretty quick. We'd like to hear from you. And where we'd like to hear from you is on our social media feeds. We're on pretty much all of them. We're on Twitter at Quord on the Street. That's QUORD on the ST and Twitter, because the word street is too long.
We're also on Instagram, and that's going to be Quord on the Street, QUORD on the Street, all spelled out.
On YouTube, same, youtube.com/Quord on the Street. You can like, subscribe, and comment to us there directly.
We're also available on all of the major podcasting platforms, but you can leave a review on like Apple Podcasts or whichever platform you choose.
That's right. And our personal Twitters are I am at V_C, spell out the underscore.
And I am at I'm Scuzzy, IMSKUZZEY.
Yeah, that's all we got for you today. I do just want to, put some acknowledgments here. We'd like to acknowledge Josh Wardle, the original creator of Wordle, and the gifter of my first topic from episode 0. If you want to go hear us ramble about that, you can go hear one of the weirdest coincidences ever in my life. And we'd also like to thank Freddie Meyer, the creator of Quordle, the game that specifically gave us this idea by just generating these random words. He is at Quordle on Twitter, QUORDLE. And if you play the game every day, go ahead and buy him a coffee.
Everyone loves coffee.
Yeah. And with that, we're just going to go ahead and say our sign out phrase. And that is that we hope you get
the Quord out.